So about a week ago, I got out my camera and I walked into my office and I thought, I think we're missing a higher level concept. I think so often, because I do so many coaching calls a week, I think so often practice owners like yourself, um, physical therapists who want to be practice owners, clinical directors looking to be practice owners, we fixate. And I remember back when I was starting my practice oh my gosh, I started a staffing company in 1999, and that became one of the largest staffing companies in the state of Maryland for clinicians at the time. And I started my physical therapy private practice in 2000, and we ended up expanding to 6 offices. And as I recall back, and it brings me to this week's episode, because I want to really give you some concrete data on what you can do something about. I remember thinking it was all about mechanics. So what really matters most, mechanics or magnetism? And that's the message of this week's episode. That's what I want to get into with all of you today, because I've been coaching so many offices for so many years, and I'm still getting the same thing that I fell victim to in the very beginning. It's all about what I do. It's all about where I am and what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. And it's really not. It's really not. It's more about your beingness. It's more about your magnetism of wanting to emanate this importance of relationship, this idea, this feeling, this concept that others around me are super important to me. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because I wanted to create a practice that would go above and beyond the normal level of expectations. We all know it requires marketing and evaluations and some exercise equipment and some computers and some billing and things like that so that we can get paid for the work that we do. But what I think we're missing as a more important point is why here? Why come here? I mean, I remember my clinic had 12 clinics within 2 miles of my office, maybe 2.5 miles within my office. I'm thinking about, but it doesn't matter. It was practice of the year in 2011 because of the magnetism. It wasn't because of the mechanics. A lot of people do therapy well, but that's not enough of a reason as to why people want to come to your practice. So after being in and out of over 600 offices across the nation, after having Meg Academy built and running and operational since 2010, I mean, man, that's 14 years of professional coaching exclusively to physical therapists in private practice. And in those 14 years, and in the thousands of owners and therapists that I've met over those years, my just anecdotal observation is that 40% of the top tier private practice successful owners is based on the mechanics, and 60% is based on their magnetism. There's a very common saying that you'll hear often, and it kind of supports exactly my message for this week. People do business with those that they know, like, and trust. Think about that statement. I know I do. I know I'm going to bring my truck in for an oil change this week, and I have many options, but I'm going to the place where I like the people. I trust them and that they know what they're doing. Everyone knows them. They're very transparent, because transparency, PGI, personal growth idea number 1 of today's podcast, is that transparency breeds trust. People are even forgiving when you make mistakes and errors if you make up the damage, if you respond appropriately and quickly and swiftly, and they have faith and confidence that, yes, that error occurred, but we make errors in our life too. I'm not perfect either. I'm going to give you a little grace because of how well you responded to that outpoint. Outpoint, by definition, is anything that shouldn't be. So I look at everything in my company's operations for outpoints. If there's anything that shouldn't be that I can optimize a change and improvement in mechanically, I will do. But what did it take first to be able to have the motivation and interest to want to do that? It took the magnetism. Like, I want to be well thought of. as a provider. I want to be well liked for our results. I want to be somebody who lives my life with transparency. I woke up the other morning and I came out to get my day started, and I'm talking out loud, literally to myself. And I'm like, all right, Brian, like literally, I'm saying this out loud. All right, Brian, it's another morning, another day. Let's start this one, fired up and ready to go. Let's make today even better than yesterday. And then my wife pops up from the couch in the other room and she's like, goodness, you just woke me up. I've been trying to get a good night's sleep. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you left at 5 a.m. I thought you went to the gym. She's like, no, I didn't go to the gym. Do you start every morning talking to yourself like that? I'm like, are you actually going to be like criticizing me for starting my day in an upbeat, motivated, high tone kind of manner? She goes, no, of course not. She goes, I just didn't know you did that every day. And I think that resets my beingness because I start every day like it's a new day. And I start every day like I want to live a better day today than yesterday. I want to live a better, I'm 56 years old. I want to be better 56-year-old than I was 55-year-old. Is that not important? We put so much importance on using the right document, using the right form, following the right standard operating procedure. And I'm not saying that's not important. But what I am saying is everyone's doing that. What are you doing? What are you doing to instill this confidence in your staff, this motivation, this enthusiasm, this excitement, this beingness? As a business coach, I can tell you, the industry rewards you for that extra effort. People want to be around you for that type of attitude. I had a staff member that I recently put on a personnel improvement program, a PIP. And, the person first thought of it as like a punishment. It was punitive. And I'm like, this isn't that at all. I am writing down all my thoughts and ideas of all the best ways and avenues you could take from here that you can improve your performance in achieving a higher level of productivity and efficiency and net results for the position you're entrusted with. We all have to work somewhere. And if you're choosing to work here, then I'm choosing to invest in you to the greatest ability, to the greatest degree possible for your benefit. That's why a learning management system is so important. That's why Meg Academy has been so successful. Literally, for the cost of 13 patients, you can have the full start to finish, every single post-training, every certification program, every high-level executive program on how to actually have the highest degree of beingness on any post you want. CEO post, marketing director post, personal relationship post, front desk, coordinator, office manager, staff therapist, clinical director. I've been a firm believer, if you just take courses in charging and coding, it's going to have a negative impact somewhere else along the chain if you haven't wrapped it all together. So I'm digressing, but I'm not at the same time. I'm giving you these examples of how the magnetism drives the mechanics. It's not the other way around. I'm enthusiastic about being a therapist and always will be. I'm enthusiastic about assembling a team of people around me who I know, like, and trust, and who want to do good by others, who want to be appreciated for the value they brought with their personality, with their enthusiasm, with their motivation. And the fact that they've helped somebody live a better life and achieving optimum health is super relevant and super important. The fact that they've taken a ton of educational courses and got their OCS certification is mechanics. It's mechanics. You can have all the skills in the world. That doesn't mean you're going to be a well-liked, well-thought of, well-sought-out therapist. So think about that when you're talking to your staff. Think about what the important key element is. Isn't it the gaining of agreement? Isn't it the bonding with your patients? I'm going to give you some facts and figures here now. I want to move from that personal, professional concept because I think you need to grasp that first. I know I did because, man, there were 2 times in my life I stayed at work all night and my wife had to bring me a change of clothes. It was terrible. Like, I thought the harder I worked, the longer I worked, the better it was. If you find yourself saying to yourself, there's not enough hours in the day. There's more work than I can handle. I feel overwhelmed. There's no work-life balance for me as an owner or a manager. Well, that just tells me that you have a significant outness in your organization, in your viewpoint, in your time management skills through the use of compartmentalization. There is no time management success without your discipline to compartmentalization of your time. There's a block of time that you do admin. There's a block of time you do clinical. And there's a block of time that you reflect. There's a block of time you have for yourself. There's a block of time you need to have for your family. And you need to be in that moment. You need to be 100% engaged and invested in that moment in order to actually be in that moment. And actually, for that moment to occur, if your mental attention units are spent thinking about your clinic, your phone ringing, your personnel issues, while you're trying to play catch with your kid, your son or daughter, you're not playing catch. Your body's there, but your spirit's not. And that's felt. That's very shallow. You don't want that. Work-life balance isn't just for your employees. I know this episode has a lot of, beingness, concepts, but I need you to grasp that because I'm going to go forward. Let's talk about some of these metrics because I think this says a lot. There was some data that was put out some 5-6 years ago that said, and it was like 1,800 offices that the data was collected at. And based on that data, the top excellent offices across the country had a greater than 16% profit, net revenue, if you will, profiting 16 cents on every dollar that came in. A good run practice, operating practice, was 12 to 15%. A fair was like 9 to 12%. Anything under 9% was considered poor, low producer, low performer. Well, the question you should be asking yourself is, what's the common denominator for the practices that are in the high category, the over 6? It's not just the practices that are in the Pacific Northwest, because I know we all know, I've got clinics out there, average reimbursement's $135 a visit. Some are even higher, believe it or not. For those of you who are in the, Northeast, you're like, what? But with that comes a whole different set of challenges. Therapists that want to see 40 patients a week and they're, woo, I'm whipped. I'm so overworked. Yeah, road kick. And therapists that want to make 6 figures for being a staff therapist, fresh out of school, 1 year, 2 years. So, front desk coordinators at $25 an hour because Taco Bell's paying 22 or 23. These are a set of unique challenges in the high reimbursed parts of the country that other parts of the country may not have. So look, everybody's got their challenges. It's not, a slip and slide, fun-loving, 24/7 experience anywhere in the country. We all have our particular set of challenges. So with that said, Meg Academy and the people who actually entrust in us and allow me or Laura to be their personal coach, because I take that so seriously, because a coach's job, my mission is to fulfill the shoes of the definition of a professional coach. A professional coach, Tom Brady had a coach, Wayne Gretzky had a coach, almost Michael Jordan had a coach. The coach's job is to enable that athlete to perform at a level that they would never, ever perform at if left to their own accord. And that's the creed that we take and embrace here at Meg Academy. We embrace that concept. So I want every single one of you who comes through our web-based online live personal training with your coach, which is endless coaching for free. We don't charge anything for that. For you to be at 20%. That's what I want. I don't want you to be anything less than 20%. I want to be way above 16 cents on the dollar. I want to be 20 cents on the dollar higher. My best performing owner was at 38 cents on the dollar. Now, how do you do that? It has a lot more to do with the company culture that you created, with the brand that you've built, with the colleagues that you've assembled next to you who are motivated to challenge themselves to be a better practitioner, to be able to deliver a better level of execution with their patients through their professionalism, through their clinical skills, through their personal connection, and through their ability to gain agreement with others. I can tell you, when we were Practice of the Year, people would just rave about wanting to come in because they knew that they were going to be seen as a person, not a condition. And that's a really big concept if you're going to succeed in this mission of magnetism, holding that magnetism in place. And how can you instill that in your staff? You can instill that in your staff by getting to know them better, having your 10-minute meetings with them once a month and letting them share with you everything that's going on here in the practice for them and what they're experiencing and what they're dealing with and what they're going through. Allow them to have a mentorship program clinically so that they can have some, co-treatment on a particular patient of their choice, or they can do a shadowing of somebody else's patient. Change your policy. Make sure that all patients get evaluated by a therapist, but they get a full plan of care executed between two clinicians. So the clinicians are learning from each other. The patient has the benefit of two brains instead of one. The patient has a bigger schedule to pick from so they can have more consistent appointments at the days and times that are important to them. The front desk has an easier time of patient management. And if one therapist should be out on vacation, the other therapist already knows the patients, your schedule's not going to tank. So you see how policies, beingness, operations clinically, and the mechanics actually do interweave, but it's only the influence of we're here for you. We're here for you. Like the way we run, like the whole reason why we went into the service industry is because the overwhelming majority of practice owners, just like you are saying, wouldn't it be heaven if I could start my own physical therapy practice and I could just stay in my lane and hire the DPTs, PTAs, and techs, and they're on my payroll and I run and manage them? But instead of getting a partner and sharing my membership interest with somebody else, sharing my profits with somebody else, I'm going to keep my payroll down and I'm going to hitch my wagon to another business associate, another business group that professionalism and their professional level of experience supersedes or exceeds, I guess, my own knowingness about the administrative functions, the front desk patient registration, the HR, the marketing, the billing, the credentialing, the contracting, the authorizations, the verifications of benefits, the patient registration. I may have already said that. All the things I never went to school for. But now I don't have to go through a revolving door of hiring people and then rehiring and thinking I can train people on something I never even knew how to do myself. Somebody said to me a couple weeks ago, and again, this is the magnetism of it. And I'm rewording it a little bit because it moved me so much. And this owner said to me, I'm really interested in working together with you, Brian, and your Meg virtual front desk services and billing services tied together because I believe in collaborative capitalism. And maybe I'm making that word up because I honestly think he said something else, but it kind of blipped out on the Zoomcast when he said it. But what I interpreted it as, and so I'll just label it as collaborative capitalism, because he went on to explain, I want to join in a common working relationship with another business entity that I want to see win capitalistically for themselves. They should have a profit and a growth margin and be able to scale their business in a successful manner so that they're excited and motivated to be hitched to us and we are benefiting from them, such that both of us are doing better mutually connected together than we would if we were apart, than we would if we went it alone, our own way. And ever since that moment, my brain was just like, that's exactly what I want for all of you and all of the owners and all of the practices that we work with. I want to be connected on a service level or on a training level in such a way that when you look at it, you say that was the best decision you ever made because you're profiting more, you're gaining more freedom, more peace of mind, you're living your life with less stress, you're literally living the life of the practice owner you've always envisioned for yourself. Because you have a partner who's not taking your profits, who's not part of your LLC, who you don't have to run things, who's handling the things you don't want to handle. who's doing the things that are uncomfortable for you to do. I am having somebody come to my home to do basement encapsulation because it's something I don't want to. I can run the plastic down and seal it against, but I don't want to do it. I want to hire a professional group who knows how to do it so they can do that best. And I'm willing to work together with that group so that they can safely protect my house against radon and mold and all the other things that go along with it. I don't know if that's a good example or not, but that is exactly what this is all about. That's what this podcast is all about. You can have as many KPIs, you can have as many metrics as you want, but if you don't have the magnetism as to why referral sources want to refer to you over someone else. Back in 2003, we sent out 141 surveys to doctors, and we asked one question: what makes you refer to Clinic A over Clinic B? That was the survey. We sent out literally hundreds more, but we got 141 back. Out of the 141 back, the number one answer was so much further ahead than any other answer. No other answer even mattered. I send to practice A over practice B because in that practice, there are people there that I absolutely have connected with on a shared philosophy. I believe my patients connect with them on a personal level. And I believe that their level of commitment to the profession that they practice in shines above other people in my community just doing the business. In other words, summarizing, I send to practice A because those are the people that I know, like, and trust. So there was I gave you all of these descriptor words because it was always, no one doctor wrote the same exact sentence as another physician, but that was the common denominator. I only like to send to people that I know, like, and trust. And it's the magnetism that will make your practice successful. So what do you need to do to make a change from here? Invest in your staff. Invest in yourself. Learn how to integrate policies, standard operating procedures, and protocols in a way that you can attract the most uptoned, the most energetic, the highest communicative, the ones who are most easy to get along with, the people who come to work and I want to be the helpful Jan. I want to be the happy Jan. I want to be the, motivated Jan. I want the person who doesn't bring their drama, doesn't bring their baggage, if you will, right? They bring their journeyman attitude about adventuring into the practice each and every day to see what are we going to achieve today and who are we going to do it with. So that's my message for your practice. I hope you can share this with as many people as possible. Please share this podcast with your colleagues. Hit the like button, subscribe for sure. And next week, I'm going to be talking to you. I already have it written here. I want to talk to you about what do you do when your collections are going down, but your visits are going up. And in that episode, we're going to be very mechanical. But for right now, I want to sign off and let you really think about what we just talked about and know that it's so much more about what you have inside than what you're doing on the outside. So that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Start each and every day expecting to do well.